Okay, brother, one of us. Excuse me. Why are you going? Come back, Mr. Christian. Why are you scared of the camera? You can't look. Can you imagine that? How can that be? Let me give you an example.
Everybody here believes that Islam,
okay, brother,
the
let me
religion
give you
of
an
killing.
example. That was a Christian. He has gone. Okay. Now let me tell you. The Christians think that we Muslims fight, we kill. But remember, today is Remembrance Day.
Remembrance Day, yeah.
The First World War came to an end. Who was fighting the First World War? Who started the First World War? It was the Christians. And let me tell you, in the First World War, which took place between 1914 to 1918, okay? In the First World War, more than 31 million human beings were killed. Out of these more than 31 million human beings, soldiers and civilians who were killed, we have different figures. But let me tell you one of the figures I have seen. More than 311,000 Russians were killed. Who were Russians? Majority Christian. Yes. Now, the second biggest figure of those killed in the First World War, more than 2,921,000 Turkish Muslims, civilians and soldiers were killed. Okay, and in the First World War, 700 in the First World War, more than 1.5 million French people, they were killed. In British people, how many killed in the First World War? More than 984,000 British people were killed. Okay. And how many Romanians killed in that? Romanians also Christian. How many Romanians killed in First World War? More than 680,000. 680. More than 680,000. And these, they were Christians. Can you imagine? So much killing. And they used to call that war, that is the war, First World War, to end all wars. And yet, after that, they've had the Spanish Civil War. After the First World War, they had the Second World War. And yet they used to say the First World War is the war to finish off all wars. And let me not forget, my grandfather was a soldier in the First World War in the Indian Army. Okay, he was also fighting. Okay, now in the First World War, did you know one of the figures is that more than 74,000 Indian soldiers, they were killed in the First World War. Who for? For the British. Who for? For the Christians. Can you imagine, in those days they brought hundreds of thousands of Indian soldiers, including Muslim soldiers, including Hindu soldiers, including from the Rajput regiments and so on, including Sikh soldiers. They brought hundreds of thousands of those soldiers all the way from Asia to Europe, in France, battlefields like France. Okay, and where more than 74,000 Indian soldiers were killed in the First World War. That's one of the figures. And nowadays people see us here, they say, oh, why don't you go back to your country? What do you mean? You brought us here. You brought our forefathers here as soldiers to fight for you. And they died for you, so many of them. And so many thousands and thousands of them, they were injured. They lost their legs, they lost their arms, they lost their eyes. For who? For the British people. for the French people. And let me tell you, in the First World War, brother, you are from Africa. In the First World War, did you know more? You are also from Africa. In the First World War, more than 200,000 Africans were brought over to fight in the First World War.
Which country?
Can you imagine?
From which country?
From which country?
Yeah.
From Nigeria. From where the British were ruling in Africa, in those countries, and where the French were ruling in Africa, from those countries.
Yeah, they came by their own.
By their own?
Yeah.
They were in the army. Okay.
Was forced.
Excuse me. Okay, excuse me. Excuse me. Let me tell you. Now, brother. Okay, now you can excuse me. Okay, those who came is wrong, you see. They never came on their own. They came, they never came on their own. Okay, those who were in the Indian army, the British brought them here. Those who were from the countries which were ruled by the French, okay, they were brought over by the French. So when he said that they came on their own, that is wrong. That is not history. That means not much education there. So you have to agree. So nowadays, you know, to speak, at least you have to have some sort of knowledge. And even, you know, let me tell you another thing. I've heard that the Indians fought in the First World War, and they had asked that after the First World War, India will become an independent country. But after the First World War, India still did not become an independent country. Okay? And in the Second World War, the Indians then sent from the Hindu side less of their soldiers. Why? Because they thought in the First World War we were offered the okay, after the First World War finishes, we will give India independence. But India never got independence. India became independent after the Second World War. So anyway, this fighting, sir, when you said those soldiers came on their own, that's what you said?
They were recruited.
Okay, they were
officially recruited.
Okay, right.
And they were not forced. There's a huge difference.
Excuse me, okay, I wasn't saying they were forced. What I was saying is,
Contribution.
They were in the armies, soldiers.
Gallipoli.
And when they were, Gallipoli is in European part of Turkey.
Yeah, that is in Turkey. Yeah.
Where these powers, French and the British, they attacked in Gallipoli. Gallipoli is in Turkey, in the European part of Turkey. In Gallipoli, a big battle took place where these powers, European powers, they attacked those Muslim Turks to take over that area. But those Muslim Turks, they fought very hard. And they were not only the Turks fighting in Gallipoli,
so what is
there were also thousands of Arab soldiers who were also fighting on the side of the Turks. Eventually, after hard fighting, lots of killing, lots of casualties, the Turkish army, they won. And these European army, they had to withdraw. Okay, that's the Gallipoli army. But also the soldiers from our country like India, they fought in France.
Yeah, they did.
My grandfather fought in France.
Yeah, I have an uncle, grand uncle who fought in Italy.
In France. So okay, right. So my friend, they did not come on their own, but they were. Look, they were. No, you are wrong. You are wrong. Well, you are wrong. Excuse me. Excuse me.
They were recruited.
Allah Akbar.
Come, they were recruited.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, brother.
I have a question for you.
Okay, listen. Let's not all speak, brother. Let's not all speak, please. Actually, okay, brother. Let's not all speak, sir. When somebody joins an army. When somebody joins an army, when he gets ordered
to shoot,
excuse me, when he gets ordered, okay, you are going to that area, he has to go. If he doesn't, he will be shot.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. So let's agree on everything. Soldiers, they join armies. Okay? They join armies. When there is a war, not all the Indian soldiers came from India to Europe to fight. Some stayed there. But which soldiers came to Europe to fight in other areas? Those soldiers who were ordered by the commanders. Who were the commanders? The Europeans. So those Indian soldiers who were ordered by the commanders, those regiments, those brigades, those units who were ordered, they had to come. They fought. Okay?